Coming up, Lara Croft is coming to PC, so get ready for realistic hair physics. That Suicide Squad trailer has us feeling kinda curious about that movie, and how do we feel about The Force Awakens a month later? All that and more right now on Up at Noon Live.
Hey!
We did it!
Whoa!
What a show!
We still have jobs.
Oh, we still
somehow
have to do the whole episode.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? Welcome to Up at Noon. I'm Max Scoville. This is Brian Altano.
Hey, girl.
We are live right now. I don't know how you're watching us. If you're watching this recorded, we're not live. But if you are watching it live, then you're watching it live. I don't know how to tell those things apart. What?
No, sure, yeah. All right.
You can watch us on IGN. You can watch us on YouTube, on Twitch. We are also on IGN's PS4, Xbox One, Twitch, Roku, and I think we're available on some smart fridges now. But yeah, if you want to get at us, we are monitoring the various chat streams of those. And also, if you want to hop on Twitter and use the hashtag #UpAtNoon, you can tell us that we are awful and that you hate us and that he looks sort of like a potato, but you put a little jacket on it.
That's cool. I can take it.
Yeah.
I'm a tough boy.
Yeah, like a real tough spud.
Bring it. Use the hashtag #UpAtNoon. It's spelled UPATNO or YupAtNone. However you want to do that. Just somehow mash those things together and make a cool word out of it.
We'd like to give a special thanks to our sponsor, which is 404 Errors on Pop-Ups. Where would we be without you? I don't know.
The murder, literal murder of thousands of dad's computers.
Yeah.
Just kill them all.
Yeah.
Just in 1 year. It's real bad. And you got to fix them. That's why you got to move out. You really don't live there anymore. You got to move out of that house. Get your own place, spread your wings, and fly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're doing pretty well. Our producer's already shaking his head. We're probably like 45 seconds in, something like that.
Yep.
We have a special guest. Welcome back, everybody. Rich Briggs.
Yeah.
From Square Enix Crystal Dynamics, who is the brand manager for the Tomb Raider. Rise of the Tomb Raider.
We always make you roll in like it's really, we don't have a system.
We cover you in wires.
You know what we're gonna do? One day I'm gonna have
My
you.
chair is missing a wheel, just so you know. So I could not roll
That's the
in.
Player 2 guest chair.
This show is missing a wheel. Next time we're gonna have you come up from fake stairs. You know, like from behind the couch.
Just between you guys, just as you're talking, I should just.
Well, welcome back, man. This is so cool.
Thank
Usually
you for
people
having
don't
me
come
back
to our show. They just
I
go away forever.
I did not want to, but I had to.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's
We have
that
to come into work
PR
sometimes
cycle.
too.
No, I'm happy to be back. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so like last week we had you, or last time we had you on, it was right when Rise of the Tomb Raider was coming to Xbox One, and it is just about to come to PC.
Absolutely.
What's going on there? You were also about to unroll the DLC, is that right?
We are. Which would you like me to start with? We can talk about Baba Yaga Temple of the Witch, or we can talk about the PC launch coming up.
Which is cooler, witches or computers?
We can go in
hand in
chronological order. Baba Yaga comes out first.
All right, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do
way. So Baba Yaga, we're really excited about it. It's the Temple of the Witch, and it's our first story-based DLC. So if you've played Rise of the Tomb Raider, you know that there is anywhere from 30 to 40 hours of content there. So this is the first DLC that is a story focus to it. And it's a little bit darker in tone in the story. You know, Lara's going to be suffering from visions at times. There's a little bit more of a psychological aspect to it.
So those skulls weren't actually moving. She's just kind of
Well, you don't know yet. Oh, you don't know yet.
This looks pretty gnarly.
It is a little spooky. You know, you'll see some of the enemies will have a more spectral appearance to them. But it's 3 hours of new gameplay, and Lara's going to visit a new tomb. She's trying to unravel this mystery, the secret of the witch. And the tomb is filled with a huge puzzle. We have a new boss encounter in there, and the boss fight actually incorporates a puzzle element into it. So it's something that we haven't done in the franchise before. And at the end, you get a new bow mechanic that you can then take into the main game and use. So new enemies, you know, new area, new boss fight, new tomb. It's very exciting.
I don't want anything spoiled. Are there new animals?
To hunt, as in new animals to hunt around.
Or that you just imagine, or just I really like animals.
So I don't want to spoil
why we work
anything,
together.
but there is an animal that has a very new appearance to it.
Awesome.
I don't want to go any further
Awesome.
than that.
It is a chicken with the body of a house. No, I'm really curious about this because I love
saw that.
I love Baba Yaga.
Right?
Baba Yaga is, of course, the witch, the folklore witch lady
Yes.
who lives in a chicken house.
And we always love to have, you know, we call it, you know, Noah, our franchise creative director, always loves to say the Googleable myths, right? Like if you look it up, it's not necessarily the most well-known myth, but it is something that is real, and we draw our inspiration from that. We obviously put our own twist on it, but yes, we have the house with the legs in it. It is Baba Yaga.
I'm gonna ask a real hard-hitting question. This might spoil the entire DLC. Is the boss Baba Yaga in the chicken house hopping around on one leg like Dr. Robotnik in one of those weird pogo stick inventions?
No.
Okay.
Your question was dumber than my question, and my question was really dumb.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
So how does a story like this come together? Is this something that's pitched at the jump when creating this game, or is it something that's kind of along the way you go, I have this idea for a story, I want to tell it? There really is a chicken house.
Yeah, I wasn't
There is a
a
chicken
stupid
house,
question.
yes.
Do you have to fight the house?
Well,
you gotta fight a house in
I don't
Final
want to spoil.
Fantasy?
It does not hop around on one leg like Dr. Robotnik. That is what I am saying in response to your question.
You don't actually have to answer that question. We already did.
Can you pilot the chicken walker like in Battlefront?
Stop it, Max.
You do not. You do not pilot the house with legs. We're not calling it the chicken walker. I would just like to make that very clear.
A lot of people call Max Scoville the Anderson Cooper of games.
In terms of how it comes about, we actually have a live team, and as the main game is being wrapped up and worked on, more and more people go onto that live team. But they start very, very early, looking at what do we want our season pass content to be, what do we want the new story content to be. So all the different outfits, all the different adventures, the new endurance mode that we put out recently, that's being very well received. All that stuff is the brainchild of our live team, and then they bring in other people of the team, and it comes together as the story that you see here.
I love it. It almost looked kind of like a chicken walker from Star Wars.
I like Star Wars.
You're trying to TM that chicken walker thing, aren't you?
I have one.
No,
right here.
I'm very into the idea of a house with large legs. Now, of course, you also bringing Rise of the Tomb Raider to PC, which I'm sure will get a lot of people really excited about it because there's a lot of people who play games on their computers. You guys set a really kind of a high precedent with this with the first Tomb Raider coming to PC because that had like crazy hair.
Absolutely.
Just the best hair.
Absolutely. And well, we always try and approach every new release that we do as its own product, and we push the boundaries as far as we can. So once again, we've partnered with Nixie Software. They've been doing an amazing job, and there are 5 things that we're really focusing on for the PC version so that we feel like we're making this the most realistic version of Tomb Raider ever. So first, we've partnered with NVIDIA on a new ambient occlusion technology called HBAO+. So that means that it's much more realistic and rich ambient lighting. We've bumped up the hardware tessellation, which this is the most visibly apparent thing that you'll do. It means that whenever you look at an uneven surface, it's going to have a lot more geometry to it. Rocks, rocky walls, cliff faces will be much more lifelike. Foliage that used to be static will now dynamically react to Lara walking by or even to the rain, precipitation.
Wow. Damn.
We have a new thing called anisotropic filtering. Probably saying that incorrectly, but basically if you look at a surface,
you nailed it.
Did I get it right?
Yeah,
okay,
totally.
so if you look at a surface from an angle, you'll see much more detail, so cracks in walls and on the floors. And then finally we increased the draw distance and added more detail, so when you're looking at a hub space, and they're already huge, they were 2 to 3 times bigger than they were in Tomb Raider, you'll be able to see details and objects and environment and on buildings. So in all, it will literally be the most realistic looking version and the most richly detailed version of Tomb Raider ever made.
Now, I gotta say, all of this sounds awesome. None of these things were a problem for me playing this game. Like,
that was difficult. It was actually difficult taking, because I like to say that, I think we had a really, really great looking Rise of the Tomb Raider on Xbox One and Xbox 360.
Absolutely.
So we pushed ourselves. It's always a labor of love for us. We push ourselves as far as we can. So that was the benchmark, and now we have established a new one.
That's so cool.
Nice work.
Now, is there going to be any kind of like modding support? Or is that kind of...
You know what? We don't really have a level designer or a level creation in the game right now, so that's not something. It's always something we think about and look at, but we don't have any modding support officially right now.
Do you think people are going to get all messed up in there, violating their end user license agreement and just mess up?
I mean,
Lara's
you
hair?
guys basically had like an exploding projectile chicken weapon, right?
Yes.
So you kind of beat a lot of the weird modders to the punch.
I would expect nothing less from the PC community than
Yeah.
to see some really awesome things with the chicken bomb.
Well, what they usually do is 3 things. They put in the Millennium Falcon, even though that makes no sense. So it was one of the first things you mod into a game.
Imagine that as a tomb.
Yep.
It's crashed into a wall somewhere.
There's a giant crab usually, and then there's nudity, but not for where you'd expect it. It's going to mostly be, again,
chicken nudity.
the animals. I was going to
Chicken
say.
nudity. Yeah. Taking the pants off the chicken.
One of the first things that I think got modded into GTA 5 was Monk. Like the character from the USA show. Like you could play as...
Wait, Monk? The detective? The guy
Yeah,
who
like
walks
somebody
around?
put in Monk into GTA. I don't know why. Maybe you can finally play Rise of the Tomb Raider as your favorite obsessive-compulsive private eye.
I always think it's fascinating.
He's got an eye for details.
Challenge.
That like PC players get the best looking version of the game almost always, right? Because they're just always working on better hardware, and with that power, they just do the weirdest things.
I love it. It's
With great power.
Yes,
good stuff.
Comes
Also,
great responsibility, which I don't think a lot of them have, but I love them for it because they make some cool stuff we get to see.
when is this out in the wild, and when can people get their hands on it?
Well, so Baba Yaga will release on January 26th for Xbox One and Xbox 360, and then the PC version will release on Windows 10 and Steam on January 28th, and Baba Yaga will be available day one for that. So
That sounds awesome. And you have any more DLC on the way after that?
we do. We have another pack that we've only announced in title. It's called Cold Darkness Awakened. We haven't given too many details around that.
Santa Claus. Lara Croft is going to hunt down that fearsome Santa Claus.
Why would you get that from?
And he comes in the Baba Yaga house too. That's his new sled.
Is a sled with reindeer pulling it. That's scary.
How much are you guys charging for DLC?
Well, so Baba Yaga, it'll be $9.99.
Cool.
$9.99 if you want to get it.
$9.99. We've
$9.99.
invented a brand new pricing structure called $9.99.
It'll be so that's if you want to purchase separately, but otherwise it'll be included in the season pass.
Awesome. We've got a trailer lined up for that, so why don't you take a look? And Rich, we're going to unceremoniously shove you off the stage. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Max.
And,
Thanks,
Come
Brian.
back soon, man.
Yeah, have me back soon.
Let's take a look at this chicken walker house.
We have no budget.
Show the chicken.
Show the movie.
Show the damn chicken.
You gotta show the video.
Roll the
It's
chicken.
super awkward.
It's real weird. They told us they're going to show the chicken video, but they're not doing it.
I can eat some of this
We're gonna
Frankenberry.
watch, yeah, Rich is going to eat some cereal. We have cereal backstage for
This is
all
what
our
happens
guests.
when you don't show the video. We have to make a man.
There's a chicken house. Yeah, chicken house.
A Byzantine
We did it.
war galley. How the hell did it get down here?
I think that went well.
I think so.
I think
too.
when you made fun of him for how he pronounced the price of the DLC, I think that was very professional.
I think a lot of people don't
think
really
you
know
did a
how much
good
work
job
goes into
about
video
that.
game journalism, but it's really a serious sport.
Yeah, I like how we kept asking about that chicken house. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was great.
You know what else the game has a bunch of chickens in it? Zelda. That's
Hell
a game. This is something that I'm pretty stoked on. Everybody loves Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
I've never been crazy about it because Zelda has always been primarily a 2D game for me. But somebody is actually turning Ocarina of Time into a 2D Link to the Past style game.
Really?
Do we have some footage of this? Let's show this off. I really hope we have the footage because last time I said roll the footage, that didn't. Hey, look at that! It's the footage. So yeah, this is obviously a fan creation, and by showing it off on this show, someone's going to be getting a cease and desist real quick. But yeah, no, this is awesome. This is
Well, yeah, hopefully not. I mean, I'm right there with you, Max. I've always actually really loved 3D Zelda games, but I grew up playing 2D Zelda games. Link to the Past was one of the first games I actually even played for Super Nintendo, and it totally changed my perception of what graphics could be like at the time. I know you look at stuff like this now in 2016, you're like, oh, but this is actually, in some communities they would call this a demake, but I actually really enjoy seeing classic scenes from Ocarina of Time from a slightly different perspective. Like Gorons, for example, were never in Link to the Past, and here they are. We've got the whole town setting, and even the beginning with Ganon coming across the drawbridge at night. Like, it's such a really awesome scene in Ocarina of Time, but you never really think about it like looking like this. And in some ways, I would say A Link to the Past graphics have aged a lot better than Ocarina of Time.
I think that's one thing worth noting is that there's obviously a ton of nostalgia for 8 and 16-bit graphics, but part of the reason that they hold up so well is that the art direction was concise enough that you could tell what things were supposed to be at that fidelity. And when we made the jump into 3D and polygons, I think a lot of places were look at GoldenEye, for instance. A lot of stuff was just sort of like, yeah, force it. Yeah, just who cares if it doesn't hold up? Like, just show off the graphics as much as you can. It was kind of like trying to flex rather than trying to actually like think creatively.
There's also that notion of like things being. I mean, when I was pretty young. I was in high school when Ocarina of Time came out. So to me, Hyrule Field is like Disney World. You know, it's gigantic in my brain. But then I went back and played the 3DS version recently, which actually is a really well done port. Like they really cleaned it up. Grezzo did an awesome job on that. Grezzo always sounds like a cool Italian cousin I have, but it's actually a.
Grezzo is like your cousin whose dad works at Nintendo. Yeah, Grezzo got to go in the Nintendo offices.
Hey,
and
Grezzo, you got that remake for me?
Uncle Tony let him make the bushes.
But I went back and played Ocarina of Time recently, and I'm like, man, Hyrule Field is actually pretty small. My pizza fell over. Biggest problem in my adult life. But like, I'm really excited to see this in 2D because I think it's a cool reason to sort of revisit a game that I personally have replayed so many times.
Yeah.
Now there is the big elephant in the room that it's kind of illegal to do this.
Yeah.
Like you can't just go make your own fan games, but they're not selling it.
No. I mean, it's going to be curious to see how Nintendo handles it because I think that in the past they've definitely seen like that sort of fan creation as like some sort of a threat, or you know maybe they're protecting their copyright. There is that kind of legal stuff that we don't fully grasp as fans, where we're like, but they were having a nice time. When in reality, if you don't actually actively defend a copyright, you kind of lose it.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta protect your turf. It's like prison rules.
Yeah.
But it's legal. I don't know. I hope that they let this slide. I think it's really cool. But you know, we'll have to wait and see. On that note, one big thing that happened this week is DC had this sort of CW primetime like science fair of DC cinematic universe footage. I guess is what you'd call it, sort of. And they showed off a new trailer for Suicide Squad and some footage for Wonder Woman.
Jesus.
Yeah, sorry, that was the most terrifying picture I could find.
Okay, I gotta say real quick, this Joker character, he's really scary for all the wrong reasons, and a lot of it is hygiene related. I noticed that, that's great. Oh, he loves that. Ooh, big monster cereal box. He's got terrible teeth, and the dude is never wearing socks or shoes, and he's out in the streets stepping in the old needles and stuff like that. That's real gross. You gotta clean up those feet.
I already don't like the Jared Leto Joker, just on the basis, like I don't like him because he's scary.
Yeah.
Like it's not that I'm like, I don't think he's a good representation. I'm like, I think the Joker should make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, totally. I think Jared Leto's gonna do an awesome job with him. I think this movie has a lot of potential to be cool. But yeah, we got new footage of it, and we got new footage of the Wonder Woman movie, whatever they're working on, a bunch of different projects.
Yeah. Somebody in one of our various Facebook groups, Danny Hernandez, pointed out something very interesting. Let's pull that up here. Yeah.
You know, Guardians of the Galaxy had a really cool trailer. It showed off those bad-ass people in jail and how they can kick ass and stuff to a cool 70s rock song. It was also cool how they promoted that these heroes aren't really the heroes we're used to in most comic book movies.
Hey, shots fired.
Yeah, so this is Danny Hernandez from the Podcast Beyond Facebook group. Shout out to those guys over there. I love all of you peoples. This felt very similar to the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, and it was odd because our producer, Zach, who's always off screen yelling at us, giving us a finger and giving us a cool finger wag saying no. His girlfriend watched the trailer and she thought the exact same thing. So this is obviously a running theme. How do you feel about these things being so sort of tonally familiar to each other?
I mean, I think it's sort of par for the course. That's kind of a reality. It's also worth noting that what's that superhero movie that's coming out this summer that's got the real strong guy who's kind of like patriotic, and then there's the other guy who's really rich and has gadgets.
Yep.
And they're fighting. Is it the Batman or is it the Captain America? Because both of those, it's kind of the same.
Right.
Like if you look at Civil War and Batman versus Superman back side by side, they're very similar, kind of in terms of what they're dealing with.
Yeah. And if you go back, I mean, DC Comics were some of the first comic book movies. They set the tone very early on with Batman, which was just groundbreaking and incredible for the time, especially being a little kid back then and being like, I want to see this Batman movie, and my parents being like, it looks kind of mature. So they obviously kind of pumped the brakes on comic book movies on their side for a little while, and Marvel took over for so long. So I think now the comic book movie has sort of been redefined to an extent that it's okay if these guys kind of take pages from each other's playbook.
They've always been taking pages from each other's.
Yeah, literal pages.
Deadpool's coming out, and Deadpool is literally a parody of Slade Wilson, who's the villain from Teen Titans.
Yeah.
Like he's straight up just, they changed the first letter of his first name and changed his color scheme. That's like, he was a parody goof character, and they turn him into this massively popular unique character.
So of the movies we're excited about here, we got Batman vs Superman and we've got Suicide Squad. Which one is kind of taking the lead for you? Because for me, I think it's this one.
Yeah,
I think it's
Suicide
gotta be
Squad easily.
Squad.
So Zack Snyder, he's done some cool stuff, but I would say kind of shot for shot has not done the best work.
Yeah.
Like I think that he's had more misses than hits. Meanwhile, David Ayer, who's directing Suicide Squad, he wrote The Fast and the Furious. He wrote Training Day. He's done a bunch of like pretty solid cop movies and like action movies that are not like, they're not cartoon Superman movies. Like they're not comic book movies. He's made real movies for grown-ups, and I feel like, I don't know if I'd put him in the same category as Christopher Nolan per se, but I would put him more in the same category as Christopher Nolan than somebody like Zack Snyder, who I'd put more in line with somebody like, you know, Michael Bay, for instance.
Yeah, I think that's a good assessment.
Yeah.
So what did you like about the Wonder Woman stuff?
So the Wonder Woman stuff, we've got that up here. Let's pull that up. That, if we're going to compare it to Marvel stuff and make everybody mad, this reminds me a lot of Captain America, the First Avenger, because she's hanging out and fighting Nazis, I guess. Is that it? Just old helmet men? This is, I mean, Gal Gadot, everyone's arguing about what she looks like. She's kicking ass. I think that's awesome. I'm kind of looking at the overall sort of, they color corrected it so it looks like the 30s when everything was underwater. It sure was cold before they invented the color red. Yeah, I don't know. This will be interesting. This is, again, in the kind of pattern that the WB has had with all the DC movie stuff. This is like the first look we've gotten at this movie, and they're just showing a bunch of kind of incongruous random clips side by side without any like pageantry of revealing a trailer. I mean, they showed us a group photo of the Suicide Squad before they showed us the trailer for that. That was a weird way to show off something like that.
Yeah, I think their entire sort of like promotional timeline has been a little weird. They're probably still figuring all that kind of stuff out. I have a feeling the next round of these movies, everything's going to be a lot more nestled in. I kind of like where we are. We talked about this a little last week, but I like where we are with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where it's expanded enough that it's kind of comfortable and it can start telling weird side stories, and you can get things like Ant-Man. So I think eventually, probably 4 or 5 years from now, we'll be in that groove with DC stuff. But right now, they have a lot to prove. Yeah,
I worry that they're trying to catch up too fast. The reality is, like, we're like saying the DC Cinematic Universe. So far, the only thing we have that is in this is Man of Steel, and that sort of counts.
Yeah.
They're trying to do this hard reboot and this fast catch up and try to launch into this whole, you know, cinematic universe. And let's think back, like the original Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, like Iron Man 1, a lot of fun.
Yep.
Sort of only teased, you know, cinematic universe. The first Thor, the first Captain America, those are pretty so-so. Those are kind of like, they're not the greatest entries in those series. It wasn't really until you get sequels that it gets interesting.
About like, I'm one of the weird people that actually likes the first half of the first Captain America movie. I thought it was like really charming and endearing to see his character grow up as this scrawny little kid.
The first half is great, but then it falls apart.
Yeah, totally.
That's one of those rare occasions where the origin story is the most fun part.
You've also got those Hulk movies that are like totally ancillary to the
the Hulk movie that they just scrapped entirely.
Yeah.
Even though the General Ross carries over or whatever.
Yeah, it's very odd. So it's hard to keep up with that stuff.
Baby steps.
Yeah, so let's not pretend that they came out the gate swinging. So I don't know. It's going to be an exciting few years for this kind of stuff because I think once everybody gets in their groove, we're going to get a lot of cool movies.
Yeah. Now, shifting gears, we got to talk about Star Wars because if we don't talk about Star Wars, we get the shakes.
That's right.
Here's something that was making the rounds on social media. This company made actual functional Mandalorian tactical armor.
Yeah.
Mandalorian armor, if you're unfamiliar, I have a tattoo of the thing that's on it, so I'm going to do that like a jerk, like an idiot, and be like, let's check this out, guys. Mandalorian armor, of course, is Boba Fett's trademark armor. Yep. It's cool. It has darts. It has electrocution stuff. It has a jetpack, boomerangs, grappling hooks. It's a very video gamey armor, and it looks awesome. And these guys basically were like, hey, let's make some for people to actually wear when they're playing paintball, question mark?
Yes. Now, to be fair, it doesn't have most of the things you just listed.
Right.
No jetpacks, no boomerangs, no grappling hooks, which I think a lot of people really love about Boba Fett. But obviously the most iconic thing about Boba Fett is that sort of like T-shape in his helmet. And in that way, I think that looks really cool. I don't know exactly where this fits in the universe. This guy is sort of terrifying, but he also looks like Suburban Commando.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I don't know, like it's just sort of weird because I don't really like Star Wars. I don't like Boba Fett because he's like a realistic like tactical dude, you know? Like I'd be so much more interested if this company was like, yo, check it out, it's the Parasite suit from Metal Gear Solid, or like here's an actual sneaking suit that's got Kevlar insets and ceramic plate or whatever. I'd be like, okay,
Right.
that's an actual game where where there's military guns and stuff and night vision goggles. But like the fact that he's got a what is it called, an eyeglass, seeing eyeglass up there,
scope,
a
they
scope,
call it.
yeah, whatever you call it.
This
what's supposed to be built in the visor.
This feels like real life Call of Duty DLC. You
Yeah.
know, like somebody made this like map pack for their.
Yo, like the M4. What about the M4 with pot leaves on it?
So to be fair, like the construction on this thing is awesome. I just think it's weird to see like Boba Fett running around holding a gun like this. Like, no,
Yeah.
I know he's got his blasters and stuff like that, but he's a little more.
I love how we're just being like, actually.
Of course we are.
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
this
I
is
mean,
where
what
we are
are
in
you
the
gonna do?
universe.
No, but like I remember when I was a kid, it always bugged me when kids would like use non-Lego parts in their Lego creations. Like if they're like, yeah, I made a spaceship, and I'm like, yo, but that's a battle beast in there, and there's some Connects pieces sticking off of it.
You know, you're right. There's sort of like a rule set that goes with that kind of stuff, right? Like even when you're doing customs, I used to make like custom action figures when I was a kid. There's this kind of like style guide. Like you don't just haphazardly stick Sculpey all over it. And
I
not
made
let it
Super
cook.
Saiyan Luke Skywalker. It doesn't work. Stop. I don't know. I'm sure somebody will enjoy this. I mean, it's
honestly, it's a good problem to have that in 2016 we can sit here noting to death a actual Mandalorian Boba Fett armor that a guy made.
If that man was here right now, we'd just be very polite because look at his gun. It's a very big gun.
That's it pays to not have real problems.
Yeah. Anyway, so speaking of guns, video games sure have them, including this game, which is called Garbage Day. Let's take a look. Do it.
Hi everybody, I'm Brian Altano. This is Max Scoville, and guess what? It's
Garbage Day.
The day of trash and celebration of all the stuff you throw out. This is a game. It's still in alpha. It's available on Steam right now.
We don't know much about this game.
We really don't. All we heard was that it's very similar to Groundhog Day, which is a great Bill Murray film. Okay.
Hey,
This is your type of jam.
was that
Max.
joke that the man to throw a clock out a window? I want to see time fly.
That's right. Don't throw clocks in people with glass.
I don't know what this game is about. Yeah.
Oh, this is a nice. It's a very pretty game.
So
Okay. Are you
there's
stuck?
I gotta see different things I can equip. V is slow mo.
Can you jam on that cool keyboard?
Probably.
Man, you throw a chair on the bed.
The hell is video games? So wait.
Is this just one of those like weird make a mess simulators?
Yeah, I think I don't know. Yeah, this is sandbox mode, if anything.
Okay. We'll put some cereal in the oven. Get some hot baked cereal. Some baked bread.
What happened to game? What happened to games?
Baking the bread.
Insert tapes into the VCR. Wow. Wow, so hard.
There we go. We're gonna watch a cool film. These are hot cereals out of the oven.
Oh, I get it. It's literally a game based on that that one line from Silent Night. Oh, hey, what's up? Here's a game. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Okay, this game just got not boring. Yeah.
Police will now kill you on sight. Oh my! Wow.
Okay, this got real weird real
Dude.
fast. Where'd the police come from?
I don't think those are cops. Are those cops? Help! You killed the man that said help.
As punishment for murder, you have to look at your own crotch. What is a... So I just wake up again?
All right.
Oh, okay. So you go down to the... You get the weapons, you get time to do that. So it's sort of a...
You have 100 arm points.
This is like if... This is like if you put Postal 2 on a lot of medication.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to put it. There's a sword. Let's take that. It's a cool katana. All right. You want to kill a sweet neighbor? Oh! Oh! That is a weird noise. That very unsettling.
I mean, I get it. The game's in alpha,
Uh-huh.
which explains some of this.
Oh, you chopped that door in half. That was cool.
Is there... Am I making money or am I causing property
I
damage?
would watch your back. I feel like there are a lot of men chasing you into this house. Oh, we can play a sweet basketball.
This is a weird game. Oh, hold on. What's that giant gun store?
Where?
Look to the right. Oh, watch out for this man.
Son, I never told you. I hate basketballs. It's a
Music's
really,
funky.
really
I'm
strange
really
game.
Confused. All right, look on the left. No, you're really bad at direction in video games.
Watermelons. What? Left?
Behind you. Okay.
Gas?
Keep going over here. On the left, right here.
Snook
This is a
Incorporated?
giant shotgun on a roof.
There's
right
D's
behind
Nuts. Shop.
you. There's a nuts. There's a nuts. There's a nuts. That's Italian.
What is this game about?
Oh,
What
we're
are we
going to the gym.
playing?
Okay. Go in the elevator.
We have to go to the top.
Hey, for a game about dying and restarting over and over again, you only had to do that once. You've been pretty good so far. I think the trick is that you do a lot of hiding in the elevator. Okay. What's this say? What's that sign say? Don't forget you're here forever. Oh man.
That's a Simpsons reference.
Very dark.
So there's a little bit of Simpsons in here.
Oh, this is a suicide leap. Oh, this is gonna be great.
This is a really dark game.
Yeah, let's kill ourselves. Hey!
Wow.
Wow, and we're dead.
I don't know how I feel about this game. It's kind of like an overly cheerful but also more brutal Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's Garbage Day. It was 2 garbage days for us, or 3. How many days did we? I'm glad you don't have to wake up to that Cher song every morning like in the movie.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Well, that was the Up at Noon challenge. We did all right. We didn't die. You can go check out Garbage Day on your computer in case you want to kill people in that weird town or like eat these nuts.
Yeah, or just put the phone in the trash. Stop calling me. All right. See you next time.
See you tomorrow.
Real soon.
Welcome back, everybody. I have an important retraction to make, real bad one. William Hulbert, who watches our show regularly, reminded me that Wonder Woman is about World War I, not World War II.
That's right.
I messed that up real bad, and it's part of my job as someone with integrity to retract that and point out that I should have known because there are horses in that video, and you can tell that it's World War I because World War II was started when somebody kept taking all the horses and riding them into the sea.
That's not how that war started at all. That's not even remotely it.
And so they had to just really quit it.
It's not. No one would start a war.
And actually, World War I was sponsored by the horse industry.
No, you can't sponsor a horse industry.
Story. Should have seen that one coming. Also, they got fur coats, which were very popular.
You're an idiot.
In the 1930s.
You're a big.
When that war happened.
You're basically asparagus with a mouth.
Let's
talk about Deadpool.
All right, let's do that.
This is a Deadpool movie coming out. It's full of curses, sexism, racism,
yeah,
and milk.
What?
That's a guess. The last one was a guess.
I don't think it's gonna be milk. There might be. There could be a milk scene. No one knows with Deadpool. Anything could happen. Also, there's that thing floating around on social media about that 8-year-old who wants to get the rating changed to a PG-13 so he can go see it. His mom made a. Have you seen that?
Yeah. Hold on. Okay, can we talk about this real quick?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
I interrupted you to do that.
In the 90s and in the 2000s when the internet started and every idiot with a voice made a petition, they used to just die on the website where they made the petition. That was it. Now, people go, I'm going to write about this. And this kind of garbage gets publicized everywhere. It has 1,000 people sign this thing. I can get 1,000 people on Twitter right now to agree with me that they should make a XXX version of Deadpool. I can do that easily. Yeah. That's the power. I've got a thumbs up from my producer right now.
They already sort of did that. Deadpool was in the Wolverine XXX parody that Axel Braun did. Just putting that out there. So was Domino. They mentioned
my petition is a huge success.
Pretty good. No, but this is also worth pointing out. This movie has had incredibly smart marketing so far. They had that billboard that it had emoji on it and it spelled out Deadpool.
Yep.
But it was like a skull and a poop and the letter L.
It was like what was it? Skull turtle.
Skull turtle. Sure. And then of course there's the ones that make it look like a rom-com where it's like true love never dies and it's just Ryan Reynolds looking all pretty. So like presumably like. Dudes will be like, babe, I want to go see this movie, Deadpool. And they're
it's
like,
on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. And they're
like
like,
that's a tough,
oh, that
that's
looks
a tough
like
sell.
a romantic movie. and they're like, "Oh, just kidding, it's a superhero movie because I'm secretly 13 inside my head."
I dupe women in relationships. That's cool.
So like, this is obviously, I think the petition, maybe by some stretch of the imagination, there is some 11-year-old somewhere whose mom is like, cool enough with him reading Deadpool stuff without really understanding the context or knowing what's going on there, that she's like, yeah, let's petition to the Motion Picture Association of America to bump down the rating from an R to a PG-13, which I want to remind you is what it was originally slated for, and they made a big thing about Ryan Reynolds coming out and dropping F-bombs and saying, guess what, it's going to be R-rated because I fought for it. Like, there's a lot of kind of getting fans worked up about this movie because honestly, the whole way it got promoted was by leaking footage. I can't help but feel like, given the fact that Deadpool is sort of the patron saint of internet culture, and his whole shtick is breaking the fourth wall, having a marketing campaign that reflects this by having weird meta stuff, like, I don't know, maybe a fake mom and a fake kid with a fake petition to get something changed to a rating that it'll never have.
Really? You think maybe that's not a real woman?
Maybe that's just getting people all worked up on Facebook because they're like, how dare they change it? Haven't they read the comic book where he cuts a man's arm?
Well, that's a new thing. The new thing on Facebook is that one person can be mad on Twitter, and then you can screen cap that tweet and put it on Facebook and be like, people are mad. No, they're not. That's like 3 people. That's not people. That's 3 people. No one cares about 3 people.
3 people.
3 people.
Yeah.
Anyway, Deadpool screened for a bunch of people.
Bunch of Deadpool fans.
A bunch of Deadpool fans. Yep. And they loved it. So that's good.
Yeah, I think they call that preaching to the choir.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic about this. I love Ryan Reynolds. I think he's really funny. I think he gets it. He's been talking about doing this character for a long time. Yeah, he's been pushing for it. Even in that just godforsaken Wolverine Origins movie where they had him playing Wade Wilson, aka a guy with a red tank top and swords. He was funny. Like, he was funny as Deadpool, and then they did awful things with this character that showed a complete lack of understanding why people like him. Answer his butt cheeks. Yeah, I think this could be a lot of fun. I also worry that while it might blow up on the internet and everyone like us really likes it and gets excited about it, I could see this falling in the same category as, I don't know, Watchmen or Scott Pilgrim, in that it bombs at the box office and, everyone's like, I wonder why that didn't work out.
Yep.
Maybe because you did a bunch of advanced screenings for hardcore fans. Anyway, yeah, it's been a good 7 minutes since we talked about Star Wars, so we're going to talk about Star Wars some more.
Right back in the veins.
Yeah. Oh, God. It feels good. Oh, I love Star Wars.
It's been a month. It's been a month and a few days since The Force Awakens has come out. I still cherish the film. I've seen it 3 times now. You have too, right?
I saw it 3 times. I'm at that point where I don't feel like I need to go see it in theaters again.
No, I don't either.
I can kind of pump the brakes until Blu-ray comes out.
Yeah, I'm the same way. How do we feel? Like, I think there's that sort of like, so we were asked by IGN to walk out of the movie theater and film a reaction. So we basically popped out, got on Snapchat. Oh man, that was so cool, this, and this. Which was like, if you grew up in the 80s or 90s, a lot of movie trailers were sort of interspliced with teens coming out of theaters being like, oh man, Scream 2 is the scariest movie of all time. I took a dump in my pants.
Yeah.
And you're like, I didn't even know all that, that's weird. So sometimes it's good to sort of let a thought marinate for a little bit, like say a month, and maybe just kind of hang back instead of just shooting a teens react video in your car.
Yep.
And go, how do we feel about that? Like, now that it's really sunk in. So now one of the biggest criticisms for this film, which there aren't a lot of, by the way, it has a 93% on Rotten Tomato, which makes it one of the highest rated, highest grossing movies. And also one of the ones that I think you can talk about the most. You don't really get a lot of that Titanic lore.
Yeah.
But people have said almost from the jump that this feels like a shot-for-shot remake of A New Hope. How do you feel about that?
I think that's... So, J.J. Abrams said in an interview, he said something I thought was really interesting. He said, you have to go backwards to go forwards.
Yeah.
And that's what after walking out the second time, I was like, I definitely, like, a lot more of the beats kind of stuck out as being like, this is like fan servicey nostalgia fodder. Like, this is very reminiscent of the original stuff. But that's kind of good, because for a lot of people, this thing that Star Wars was, like, we all went to see the prequels expecting them to be like the original trilogy, and they weren't. They totally were very different. Some people like that. Some people like that they were weirder. I'm seeing prequel apologists who are reviled by The Force Awakens. Like, just stop. Just let it go.
Yeah, that is a weird... it reminds me a lot of the Legend of Zelda franchise, where people always hate the one that just came out, but the one before it becomes this, like, the best one of the series, and then the next one comes out, and the last one's the best one of the series. It's sort of revisionist history, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, Star Wars has always been it's always been a weird hybrid of work of art and a product.
Yeah.
Like, it revolutionized how people merchandise. See Brian's desk.
Yeah.
Like, see my desk. It's kind of how that works. So to be like, yeah, this one's all about the money. It's always been mostly about the money. That's kind of how it's worked. Things are toyetic.
But that's actually the magical thing about Star Wars is that you can take it from a surface level. Like, my parents saw it. You saw it with your mom, right? And my parents saw it and called me up, and they had questions about stuff. They got like kind of into the deep cut territory of like, who made BB-8? Like, that's a weird question, right? But for most people, it's just like a bunch of heroes running around space and fighting stuff. And but then for nerds like us, like weird people like us, you can actually delve really deep and find some other stuff.
My biggest hope after waiting a month and kind of letting my excitement die down a little bit is that if episode 8 doesn't get weird and start shaking things up in a way that feels sort of at home but not too familiar, I'll be really frustrated. But I can totally give 7 a pass on the basis that it's housekeeping and it's restoring our faith in the franchise. You know?
There's that line that George Lucas had in the documentary for episode 1, which you can go watch on YouTube. It's like an hour, and it kind of shows you where things went well and where things went south. There's a scene where he walks in quite literally with a marker and just starts drawing over storyboards going, well, this will make CG, this will make CG, this, and basically cutting all of the puppeteering and practical effects out of it, even though that movie had a lot. But he did have a line in that documentary that was talking about how it's like poetry. Everything rhymes. So he was making a new trilogy that was in some ways going to rhyme with the previous one. And that means kind of hitting the same beats and the same rhythm. Having episode 1 be sort of like episode 4, where you take this kind of kid on the sand planet and bring him up and things start to get kind of crazy. And then having, episode 2 be more like Empire, which we obviously
it's a love
know
story.
Really didn't happen at all. So in that way, I think that taking that poetry approach and then applying it to a good, hopefully, new trilogy is something J.J. Abrams definitely succeeded in. Yeah. So I think it's really cool to sort of look at where we are now, especially in relation to where the prequels were at the same time. And Star Wars is in a good place. It's one of the biggest movies of all time, but it is not the biggest movie of all time.
Nope.
We really thought it would be
by the Blue Cats and the Big Boat.
I think when you and I first saw, I think it was the first trailer for, which by the way we watched in a motel together and cried while our producer at the time was pooping in the bathroom. That's a true story. He was pooping. We were watching the trailer and crying.
We were like hugging each other and like high fiving, and just like tears are coming out of our face.
We
and
got
he comes
back,
out of the bathroom and he's like, "Hey, what'd I miss?" And we're like,
gross. That's Blair Kelly. Hire him for all your freelance pooping.
He makes the credits for these videos.
He's a gross man. Don't go anywhere near him. He's actually banned from most states. 52. They added 2 states so he couldn't even go to them.
He's kind of like Wolverine if Wolverine didn't have powers. It's weird.
Just an awful person.
Yeah.
Love you, Blair.
Anyway,
you poop like a wolf.
When we saw that early stuff for Star Wars, it's very clear that it was going to do, like, everyone knows Star Wars is going to do really well. Like, it's Star Wars. It does great. Yeah. It was kind of a safe bet that Star Wars was going to break some kind of record. Whether or not it broke all the records is another story entirely.
Yeah, we had kind of an office bet going up, and we brought up box office mojo, and we looked through it, and I was just kind of, I felt weird being like, I don't know if it's going to do internationally what some of these other movies have done internationally. Because I think that Avatar, it was such a product of its time, and it's such a beast in that I think a lot of people treated that movie like a ride. Like, sort of like it's like this $18 ride you can go on. You wear 3D glasses. Like, you're one of the only people I know that actually went and bought it on Blu-ray, because I've only seen that movie in theaters in 3D. I can't imagine watching it in 2D because it probably sucks.
It's all right.
It sucks.
So anyway, Star Wars The Force Awakens didn't clean up in China like everyone was kind of waiting to see. Yeah. It was released there later, presumably because of the fact that if you happen to track down a bootleg copy of a movie, very often that has Chinese characters on it. Like it's just sort of one of those things. There's a lot of bootlegging and copyright violation that happens there. And I mean, if they'd released it the same day as everywhere else, I feel like it would have leaked a lot more prevalently.
Totally. Their entire marketing for Star Wars was weird in China. They pulled back Finn a lot and pushed forward BB-8. They even pulled back Chewbacca, which I was like, people were like, oh, they're pulling back Finn, that's racist. But I'm like, they also pulled the bear off of the side. That's weird.
It's also worth noting this
is
the first. Is this the first Star Wars that was released in China theatrically, or am I crazy with that, or officially?
I feel like you're crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah, that can't.
I don't know. It's I know one thing is that there, in terms of like Communist Party guidelines, they really stray away from any kind of like occult stuff, which would include wizards. So I mean, the stuff with Jedi and the Force, it's kind of like it's sort of a sticky territory.
Yeah.
And it's I'd be curious how Harry Potter stuff did over there.
Well, you look at stuff like Transformers and Fast and the Furious, and like they shoot films, they shoot scenes in China. They hire Chinese actors and extras and stuff like that. There's a sort of intrinsic connection to the community there. And Star Wars is sort of just like, here's a bunch of like wizard girls and stuff in space, and we're gonna hang out and fight with our weird swords. And
there's worth pointing out. Am I crazy thinking that Donnie Yen is going to be in Rogue One?
Yes,
he's the dude who's in Ip Man, which is a huge, massively successful, Hong Kong movie. He's in that, so I think that might blow up a lot.
Yeah, that'll help for sure. And I think that the movie didn't flop in China. It did really well. It just didn't do well enough to raise it up to the astronomical status of the highest grossing movie of all time. Now, it did do that in America, which is pretty cool. Like we came out, and I think a lot of it was because you look at people like us, we've seen the movie 3 times. I never needed to see Titanic or Avatar ever again after seeing those movies.
Yeah, like I'm honestly I'm a big James Cameron fan, and I've only seen Titanic once.
Yeah.
Because they keep playing that song with that whistle. And it's like the woman starts singing about the boat all the time.
Yep.
It sucks.
Yeah, it's a good time to be alive.
We got really big into Star Wars collecting.
We did.
I don't know why I said that. That's something we've always been into. I feel like we got especially big into it because of Force Awakens stuff, and that you go to Target to buy detergent, and suddenly you're like, they made Captain Phasma vitamins, honey. We have to buy this. I'm an adult.
I bought a box of. God, I want to say it was Cinnamon Toast Crunch because it came with this like little BB-8 droid that you could hold up to a light and see a picture of BB-8. Even though if you want to see a picture of BB-8, look on the box.
You know what'd be messed up is if you held it up to the light and it showed a picture of like eye surgery or something.
Yeah.
Spiders.
Now, you and I luckily aren't fathers. We don't have daughters, but if I did, I'd be pretty upset.
You stay away from our imaginary daughters, you hear?
We don't have them yet.
Nasty boys.
Ladies.
Have a seat. You're coming over for dinner. I'm going to ask you some questions about your 5-year plans.
What do you think about a couple of stags like us one day being the cool dads, huh? Let us know in the comments. So obviously, we bought a bunch of Star Wars toys. A lot of people had a big problem with finding, what a weird thing to say, with camera. We can pause. Let's just take that in.
All right.
I'm sorry I said earlier that Blair Kelly poops like a wolf, by the way. It's true. I don't know.
That was a hard one to pull out of. We got a producer sitting right there, and he's like,
bring it in.
Doing life drawings of us or
bring it
something? Sketching? I don't know.
Anyway, Star Wars toys are everywhere. If you're a mother or a father looking for a cool toy for your daughter, or even son, because everyone should have everything, you probably had a tough time finding Rey. Now, Rey is the hero of Star Wars The Force Awakens, obviously the main character. This hashtag started, where's Rey? We have it in the corner there, because people couldn't find this character anywhere. Now, I think a lot of people thought they didn't make figures at all. That's not entirely true. I have a couple right here just to prove to you that they were made. Now, this is the Black Series figure. It came with a little BB-8. This goes for about 20 bucks. It's pretty hard to find. Where are you pointing me? Over here?
I'm holding.
Over here?
Are you just putting them? What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop it.
He's telling me to. There we go.
Idiot.
And then over here, we have the Elite Series, which you can get at the Disney Store. Both of these figures shipped without a main component of this character's arc in the story, and that is her lightsaber. Spoilers. If you haven't caught up to this movie yet, what are you doing?
They're trying to make them stand up, damn it.
They did come with BB-8s, which is cool, but and that cool Donatello bow staff she has. But no lightsabers, and I think a lot of their, and we can keep the theme going, by the way. Here's one from Disney Infinity. If we want to pop back in over here, that's a really awesome one. I actually have the Rey Speeder that was made by Lego.
Great job.
She's so strong she kills all her older sisters. And then you have the 3.75
the tractor.
Line. Yeah, so there she is right there. So there are Rey figures. You can find them. They're just really hard to find, and I think a big part of that is because they just didn't ship enough.
So to clarify on this, there was a big controversy because Star Wars Monopoly, the hit board game for hardcore Star Wars fans, was released, and it doesn't include Rey. You got the Kylo Ren, you got the Darth Vader, the Luke Skywalker, and you got Finn. These crappy little hand-painted men here, and everyone is real mad. There's also this. There's this lineup of. I like to think that girls have better taste than some of these toys. Look at that Chewbacca.
Yeah.
It looks like a shampoo bottle.
Yeah, so the Monopoly thing was interesting because it wasn't Force Awakens Monopoly, but it is Star Wars Monopoly.
This one's hot garbage. This is stupid.
This is bull.
Yeah.
Right here. So at no point, you have Chewbacca, you have Finn, you have BB-8 inside the Millennium Falcon. Rey drives the thing.
Yo, so like you can get mad that we're like getting all feminist here. No, we're being pedantic Star Wars nerds.
Yeah.
This is inaccurate marketing. This does not make sense. This is like if you made a action figure toy of Slave One, but it came with like Forlom.
Yeah.
Like Forlom is the comic relief for the Bounty Hunter Squad.
Or Finn. Now Finn is.
Finn was, I don't know, why would he wasn't even around the same time as the Bounty Hunters. That doesn't make any sense.
Now, here's another thing that's happening concurrently with the Where's Rey issue, right? Which now we've pointed out to you, we've showed you both sides. There are figures of her available. We have them all. We've purchased them because we're weird like that.
We've arranged them in a really horrible way so you can't actually see them.
Yeah.
There we go.
But we've also pointed out some places where she hasn't popped up, like Star Wars Monopoly. Thanks, Zach. There's no reason for Finn to be there and not her, especially if you're just going for this all-encompassing Star Wars theme. That being said, Finn is everywhere. And the reason for that is Finn is a peg warmer. And peg warmer is, it sounds really bad, bear with me. Peg warmer is a character that they print too many of and sits on the shelves forever. Now at toy stores, they don't buy new boxes of product until the old ones are sold out. And if the peg warmers are still sitting there, you don't get anything new. So that one Rey in every case of Black Series figures that you're hoping for, you'll never see because there's too many Finns on the shelves.
Yeah.
Kind of an issue.
Yeah.
Now, let's not give anyone a free pass here and just blame real, the actual stores that sell these things. Hasbro,
other great peg warmers include Captain Tarples, Rune Heiko, and Aunt Beru.
Aunt Beru
was
flashback
series.
Aunt Beru warming that peg for years.
Yeah. You know what I really want? I want an action figure of a senator. It comes with a video camera. That's what I want.
I would like a young woman who's friends with a man in a wheelchair with one leg.
Damn it! They don't make enough Terrence Stamp action figures. Get me a Chancellor Valorum.
That being said, I've always been the kind of guy that when I buy action figures, I try to get a lot of them, or at least all of them. I grew up with Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters. Those were my jam growing up, and I used to buy all the toys. Finding an April O'Neil toy back in the day was impossible. This has always been a problem. You could go in you could find so many Donatellos, Raphaels, Michelangelo, even foot soldiers. I had like 6 of them by the end.
You're supposed to. They're army builder.
Well, I always felt bad because I would have 4 guys beat up 1 foot soldier, and it just felt like, brutality. What are you doing?
Just arranging them so they're riding on this tractor?
So even Ghostbusters, who was it Janine?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Janine, I couldn't find a figure for her anywhere. This has been a problem. Now, Hasbro has kind of said, well, we didn't want to spoil anything, and it's like, dude, Entertainment Weekly put her on the cover of Entertainment Weekly. I think we knew Rey was a character in Star Wars.
I'm sorry, I gotta give some sympathy to whoever it is who, like, this is Monopoly.
Yeah.
This is the social media team for a board game about 1930s finance and real estate. It's a Depression-era toy.
Yep.
Like, I don't know what associate degree you have to wind up being community manager. They tweeted an apology that was a screen grab of a text document.
Yeah.
Like,
get it together. What are you doing?
I mean, like, maybe, like, the fact that they were like, oh, we're keeping the secret, like, that's them doing their best. Just maybe a bunch of people getting real mad about Rey not being in Monopoly is stupid. But I will say that the other stuff is, the Millennium Falcon thing is just dumb.
I think some of this is inexcusable. Toys are available right now if you know where to look. There's a Star Wars toy subreddit that I check out all the time, so you should check that out too. Lastly, obviously there's much more merchandise coming. This is not done here. You'll see Rey with her lightsaber. They're already making tons of action figures in that line. But finally, this movie's done. We'll get the Blu-ray. There'll be a couple deleted scenes. They already announced that they're not going to be packaged in as a sort of director's extended cut. But that kind of leaves, now we're right back in that place we've been for so long, is waiting for the next Star Wars movies.
Yeah, we got a longer wait for Episode 8 than we might have wanted. That actually got pushed back by about 7 months. So now it's coming out.
Which I'm totally okay with, by the way.
2017. Yeah, I can wait a little bit longer. But this does get a little bit sticky because you see, as much as I'm excited for Episode 8, there's another little movie that's coming out that week, Avatar 2. Let's have some Avatar. Time for Avatar, everybody.
Are you kidding me?
I didn't tell you about this one.
No!
Surprise! Almost
That's not in the script.
We're talking about Avatar right now.
No, we're not. We're talking about
Where did Jake Sully get left off at the end of Avatar?
No, of all the times you've hoodwinked me.
He got to make friends with that large tree, and of course he became one of the.
You know what this is like? This is like getting invited to your own birthday party and it said there's an intervention. That's what this feels like.
Adventures will James
I want to talk about episode.
The world of Pandora.
There's no adventures.
And how much world building will be set up by by the fact that this is going to be start of the
I
next
don't know. I hope their
Avatar
crappy
trilogy.
planet is flooded. I hope it's covered in water and all those cats drown.
You know who loves underwater movies is James Cameron.
You know who hates water? Cats. Tigers. 9-foot-tall tiger people. I hope they all
I'll have you know that
sink.
most of the land critters on the planet Pandora were in fact based on Earth sea creatures.
You're trash, and I hate you.
James Cameron is an
It's not his name.
oceanophile.
No, he's not.
He's a major proponent of aquatic work.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, but really,
hate
like, I want to point out that Avatar, highest grossing movie of all time, the sequel to that is coming out the same week as...
It's not happening.
Yeah, no, it is happening.
They canceled it because they decided that they can't remake
I'm gonna be.
Pocahontas.
You know what
twice.
I'm gonna do if I find out that if Avatar 2, what if Force Awakens 2, that's what it's called, Episode 8, Force Awakens 2, Force makes a cup of coffee, Force
Shut up!
Force checks
What
Reddit.
Get
Whatever the episode 8 is called.
Help!
If that comes out and it blows up and it breaks all these records, and then we've got
kidnapped the show,
and then
man.
we've got 5 days. And you're like, ho, 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 I love Star Wars, it's the best. And then Avatar 2 comes out, it's the biggest movie of all time. It just blows the records out of the water, completely just knocks them out of the park. I'm gonna laugh until I'm dead. I'm gonna laugh so hard, my head falls off my body, and blood shoots out of my neck, Brian.
Okay, here's
Avatar 2 coming.
Here's the bet.
December 25th, 2017.
If
If
Avatar 2 makes more money than either The Force Awakens or Episode 8, I will get an Avatar tattoo.
Don't do that. You don't want to do that.
But if it doesn't, you have to name your son Pizza Altana.
Well, you have to make an honest woman out of me.
Shake it a hand! Shake it a hand!
All right, I'm glad we settled that. Avatar
Suck it,
2
James Cameron.
or Force Awakens 2, which could be a better film? You'll have to
A
wait
better
until
film?
2017.
Oh, you want to do a
find
bet
out.
on the better film? I'll tell you who's got a better
What
film.
if he gives the Na'vi cars?
Mrs. Doubtfire Zero is going to be a better film than Avatar 2.
All right.
That's a prequel where she's in high school and she doesn't even have to dress up.
That's a great idea for a movie. That's almost as good as that Spider-Man series about Aunt May when she's a teenager.
Did they make that?
No, they didn't make that. They torpedoed that franchise. They gave it back. They saved the receipt and they sold it back to Marvel. They were like, yeah, we'll take store credit at the Disney store. That's fine.
That was like they probably got called. That's like when Dyfus gets called, where they're like, so we're gonna make a movie about Sally Field.
Coming up next, we got a Sinister Six trilogy. There's going to be a solo Hobgoblin movie. The coming of age CW series about Aunt May.
We're doing a
Before she
film
met
about
Uncle Ben.
the hit X-Man, the Blob, when he's a skinny boy and he goes in a cheesecake factory for the first time.
Get to the Star Wars.
All right. Yeah, we're wrapping stuff up. Oh,
That's it. We did the
no,
show.
We got 4 whole minutes to hang out for a second. Yeah, we can talk a little bit
Christ.
more about our ideas for spin-offs. Anything on Twitter? Did anybody tweeted us besides?
Everyone said this show should stop.
Did they block
and you
us?
should never do it again.
Did they block us on there? Can you just block people for just existing?
Rob Antonacci says, meow, I couldn't stand Avatar.
Well, you see, the part of the reason is that the first film is only about setting up for the next 3.
Why did I read that? Why did I even let you talk even
Let me
more
keep talking
about
about
this?
Avatar. Everyone
What did
loves
you
it.
do to these poor
People
women?
love it. People love Avatar. That's why I keep going to see it. So I don't know if you know this, but all of the portions of our show that I'm on do way better in China because I like to talk about Avatar. And
That's
it's a
not
huge
true.
film over there.
No way.
Yeah, it's a big hit.
No, that's not true at all.
Yeah. Also, I'm a truck.
No, because they like it. They love you in China because you look like a bootleg actor.
That was almost a joke.
Yeah, it was
That
so
good,
far.
that was a good one.
Hey, we almost did it, you guys.
That's some high quality American
Remember,
craftsmanship.
thanks for watching
that
Up
humor.
at Noon with Brian and Max. If you want to poop like a wolf, go to a motel in Anaheim. They love it there.
Great work. We'll be back next week. What do we have lined up next week? Do we have anything? Special guest?
Oh yeah, we have a good friend, Anthony Galangos, is going to come on. Anthony Galagos from the Comedy Button. He's going to come on. He's going to talk about Marvel heroes.
We're going to be interviewing a Galapagos tortoise about some Marvel heroics.
Yeah.
We also are going to be playing with a real shish kebab sword from Fallout.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not joking. That's not a stupid joke. Jokes are worse than that. We're going to be cutting up some stuff with a real flaming weapon. I'm excited to show you guys that. That'll be next week, same time, same place.
That hasn't been shot yet, so this might be, hold them up, this might be the last time you see our hands.
Yeah.
we
We're going to get a cool gritty reboot covered in weird bandages.
Yep.
Next up, Marty is playing The Flame in the Flood with designer Forrest Dowling. I don't know who wrote that in the prompter, but I read it. We'll see you guys next time.